What's going on YouTube? This is your man Tagatu, and we are back with another episode of Humble Beginnings, the history of HeXp. During this video, we're going to have some League of Legends gameplay in the background. Just kind of remind you guys that we do have a PC side, we do play League of Legends, and actually I am playing Leona for the first time in this video. So don't hate too much. I think I did pretty well initiating and getting some team fights going. I don't think they had their support in there in the beginning, but once they got in, we got some team fights. But anyway, so this video is going to be focused around the Black Ops 2 time frame, toward the end of MW3, Black Ops 2 time frame, the pro team, and after Dallas. Because a lot of you are asking, what happened with the pro team, what happened to HeXp, all this other stuff. So this is going to be your episode. This one's going to be a little bit heartfelt. It's going to bring some things out that I was not able to speak of before. I was under, some contracts. I couldn't say anything. Now all that stuff's done out of the way, so I can speak and let the truth be known. So, first and foremost, MW3, everybody knows Infinity Ward didn't really support that game. There were still teams playing, though, competitively. HeXp was struggling to find a solid team, and we had went through multiple roster changes. And toward the end, I had went to one of our first pro team member, Slayer. His name is Andrew Slayer, later turned into HeXp Slayer. I was like, I want to start a team. Would you like to start it, or do you want me to help, manage it and bring one in? And we played around with the idea of doing tryouts, and we also looked at whole teams in general. We actually held a MW3 tournament probably a couple weeks before that, and there was a team that won. I forget what they were called. They eventually became our pro team. But how that came about is we held multiple team tryouts, looked at multiple teams, see how they, played the game. We did individual tryouts to try to build our own team. And it became apparent that the individuals that we were trying out just weren't up to par or weren't up to the vision that I wanted our pro team to be at. And we had just actually disbanded our pro team after multiple roster changes. So I know I wanted something that would grow with us and become a top contender, at least in the top 16. That was my goal, top 16. So we brought on, which was Jay Hill, Gucci, Chino, and I forget who the fourth. Please don't hate me. Your name is at the tip of my tongue. But there's a fourth with them. Actually, they didn't have Chino. I think they brought him on later. But it was, I think their name was Onslaught. I'm not sure. But we brought them on at the end of MW3. Basically, we said, hey, we want you to represent our organization. Change your name to HeXp Gaming. We'll support you. We'll start, pushing your stuff out in media, getting you guys, a lot of hype and everything like that. There was really no talk of you're under contract because they were still a new team. They did come off a solid win, I think, UMG online event, and they had won our tournament. So they were starting to win tournaments, but they weren't really known. So we picked them up, told them we help them out, and once Black Ops 2 hits, we want you to hit the floor running. So start getting to know the community. I did point out to them that I wanted them to be part of the community, really get to know the guys, and really feel like home, like HeXp Gaming was home to them. I really tried to push that to them because I didn't want them just to be an outside team that played for us. I really wanted them to feel like HeXp Gaming was home. Um, so MW3 ended, Black Ops 2 started. Um, we reached out to a lot of our contacts. Street Justice, he reached out to Shibby and them at MLG. Um, we reached out to some of the pro team coaches that we knew and tried to get them scrims, which they did. They started getting pro scrims, and at first, I mean, I don't know if it was starstruck or whatever. They're having a little bit of problems. And once they started getting in the grind, started getting in their own, you really started to see them shine. They were a solid team. I knew it since the first time I saw them. I knew there was something in them that was that top 16. They weren't there yet, but I saw it in them. Um, I don't know if they saw it in themselves or not, but what started happening is they started getting these pro scrims, and we kept on pressing them out there. And eventually got on MLG pro scrims. We had to bug the hell out of them for that because honestly, they weren't a known team at that point. Um, they did well. They didn't win, but it was enough for us to have a little bit in our pocket saying, hey, they did well enough. Let us, build them up a little bit and throw them out again. And they agreed. So next time they went on MLG Pro Scrims, they actually won. And I think at that point was when they really started to blow up. And they started to just dominate and start to really come into play like, hey, this is a contender. We need to start scrimming them. Um, at this time, I really took it under my wing to really promote and start doing business for them. So on the PC side, we put two people in charge of the PC side. I was basically running. At this point, HeXp was big enough to where I could solo do everything, the PC, console, all this. We put Senior Butters, and I forget the other guy. Um, and I kind of let them have it. I was like, hey, you guys know what we do. I've got to really concentrate on this team. I've got to put everything I've got into them. Make sure you guys, if you have any questions, hit me up. So I let them go on their own. At this time, I was promoting them. I was reaching out to basically, for the first 2 years, I built the organization in a very strict standard to where everybody knew when they dealt with us, we were professional, we were mature, we kept our word, everything like that. And that really built a lot of relations for me and this organization. And during the time of the pro team, I called in a lot of favors. Um, I'm not usually the person that says, hey, I really need your help, do this, do that. Myself, don't touch my ho-ho, we had a lot of business contacts. And we started to call them in, start saying, hey, we've got a team that, is really looking strong. In the next couple weeks, months, it's going to be one of those things where you might want to really take notice and, maybe we could work out some business relationships. So I put those relationships out in the open and started calling in favors. Um, we also made a partnership with Rivalcaster. We were basically their flagship team. We made an agreement with them that they would do a HeXp challenge every week. It would be AM teams that challenge us, and it eventually turned into where pro teams would want to play us after those. So it really became like a strong partnership between the two of us to where we could actually promote them. They were promoting us. We were getting streamed live. And I want to say that we played a very strong and steady role in the growth of Rivalcaster. I mean, they do an excellent job, and they always have done an excellent job. But honestly, we were there in the beginning when they didn't really have a lot of viewers. So I want to say that we did play a part in their growth. Um, at this time, it was coming up to Dallas. We started to really grind hard. I spent day in and day out um, coaching the team, getting business contacts, sending emails, trying to look for sponsors. The main thing that hurt us was, yes, our team was excellent. I mean, we were one of the top hardpoint teams. Optic would play us nothing but hardpoint just to try to learn hardpoint. So we were definitely starting to get known in that aspect. But the thing that hurt us is we did not have, you know, we didn't have the tournament wins. We didn't have the long-standing history behind us. You know, we were still a young team. So sponsors kind of looked at like, well, you don't have any wins. You don't have very many videos out. So let's see what happens after Dallas. So as far as gaming sponsorships, it really wasn't coming into effect. Um, so I kept on doing that. A lot of the stuff that I had working on, like I said, was calling in favors, talking to people I personally knew, saying, "Hey, we really need to, get this thing going. This is something that could really blow up." The team was on their grind. They're doing exactly what they needed to do. Um, but I did see some problems arising. Um, Jay Hill, mainly, was the captain of the team, and it almost seemed that all the ideas I came up with or all the requests I made, I was getting. Um, it was almost like a stone wall. Like, well, we'll talk about that later, or we'll look into that, or yeah, yeah, let me talk, to the team and this and that. So I was starting to get the feeling that they weren't quite on board, to the fact, they weren't the team that was wholeheartedly with the community, like I had earlier talked about, that they might be looking at doing stuff, maybe not on their own, but they weren't completely on board. But I kept that under, and kept on trying to get them to do things. So before Dallas, I brought to them. Well, actually, before Dallas, it was the month before Dallas. Started getting some real solid offers from those individuals that I called in favors for. Um, I actually had one individual that said to me, "I will give you $500 per event for your team, but they must be under contract. I will not give you money if they are not under contract. I don't want my money just being wasted." I was like, excellent. Let me start getting paperwork and everything. I was actually in the process of writing up a contract, and it was actually a very simple, open-ended contract. It was to the point where I said, "Hey guys, we are going to, get a contract signed up. It's going to be maybe an event or two, 3 to 6 month contract. You guys keep all your money. Um, if you want to, we can take a percentage of it, like 10%, set it aside in an account, and that will be yours to use for travel and whatever else of your winnings. It doesn't go to me. It's for the team. But other than that, we didn't keep any money. Our main thing was with the sponsors. That was where we could mainly use the sponsors to get money for us to do things for the community. And I threw at them, "I need you guys first, before I start talking about any specifics, I need you to sign an NDA." I told them, it was about 2 weeks before Columbus now. I was like, we need to get this signed. We can sign it at Columbus, or, you can send it in now. We do need to get it done soon. I don't need you to do it, this instant, but it does need to be done soon. So at the first event, Columbus, I had personally I had paid for the jerseys, and I paid for the team pass. Now, be it this is their first tournament, um, I don't know how many teams out there really get sponsorship for their first tournament, but I did pay for their jerseys and their team pass. Also, in Dallas, all they had to pay was $100 a piece for the hotel room for the entire weekend. We basically did a group rate, and so all they really had to do was get there and pay $100 for the hotel. Everything else was covered other than food. Um, so I mean, that's what we did for 'em our first event. I did have deals working on in the background. Um, so that was leading up to Dallas. Um, Now, as far as the PC side, the console side was growing. We had the community growing. We had put Casper and Trip in charge of the community. Um, I'm going to go off the pro team for a little bit and talk about the rest of HeXp. Um, During this time, I'm spending all this time with the pro team. It was nothing but business, business, business. I relied on Trip and Casper to look after the community, make sure that they had everything they needed and grow, and Butters and someone else to do the PC side. Um, these were all people that I trusted. You know, they knew me. You know, they knew how I worked, so I was depending on them. The PC side, uh, basically nothing really happened at that point. Our community nights weren't happening. Um, People weren't getting involved. There was no growth. There was no. There really was not anything that I wanted outlined going on. Our tournament stopped. Our streams stopped, and basically everybody started leaving. Um, and I got really offended by that because I had put these people in charge to kind of help me lead the way for the PC side, and it hurt me. And I lashed out at them. I took their power away. I said, "Fuck this! I'm done. This is what the hell? I can't take a break for to get the betterment of XP going without something falling down." And that was the PC side. Now on the console side, I said I'm going to be truthful and everything. Um, Trip and Casper made their own team, which is Dynasty still today, and um, their focus was split. They had their team and their competitive side going, and they had to spend time on that. And at the same time, I depended on them to have the community running, do the community nights, recruit people, be the face of the HeXp community, and get people to play. Well, with their competitive side going, they started slacking on playing with the community. There are new people trying to come in, every day on the forums. Hey, I want to, join. I want to play. Nobody was going on the forums, so these people were getting ignored. Um, People would try to send them friend requests, and they would say, thinking competitively, "Hey, I don't know this guy, so I'm not going to add him." And a lot of interested and hardworking people kind of slipped through our fingers because our community wasn't being taken care of. And all of this kind of climaxed right after I got back from Dallas. Because right after Dallas, I kind of came back to the communities and said, "Hey, how's everything going?" And nothing that was reported back was good. Um, I started actually talking to people in the community, and they're like, "Hell, ever since you haven't been around, both from the PC side and the console, everything's went to hell." So it hurt. It felt like the people that I had trusted and put in charge of these things kind of let me down. Um, and I really didn't know how to act to that because, you know, if anybody ever knows me, I try to do the best I can to please and to work with anybody and to help build a very strong community. And these were people that were closest to me that, well, I thought were closest to me that I could, trust and put all my, faith in. And they kind of let me down on both ends. So I got really defensive about that. But I still had the pro team, which we're going to go back to now. So we meet all up at Dallas. The pro team had gotten there a day before, and it was the first day. And tried to get to know them, and I wanted to talk some business with them on that first day. I don't know if it was the excitement of everything, but every time I came up to John or wanted to talk business, he's like, "I will talk about that later." Again, kept on brushing me off. So it started getting to the point where I was getting pissed off. I was really getting agitated. I wanted to. Hold on, I gotta sneeze. I wanted to really get these guys on the same level and talk about things, the future. Um, Talk about the non-disclosure agreements, so we could talk about the dealings that I was going with on the side, and we couldn't really get that done. Uh, Another point came. I wanted to get some pictures taken of the team individually and as a team, get some media to put on the website and use to kind of promote them. And that never happened. I finally got him to go outside. I was like, all right, well, let's get these pictures. Let's go up against this wall. Or if you've been to Dallas, they've got these bull statues where they're, I guess, herding shit in Texas. I don't know, but I thought that would be a cool backdrop too. And Jonathan had gotten pissed off and actually lashed out at the team and said, "Fuck this! I'm going back inside." You know, they were hungry. He wanted to go back inside, watch that. So we never actually got the pictures done. And I just felt that things were not going the way they should as far as the team goes. There was a lot of tension, a lot of no cooperation, I guess, with the team to move forward as an organization. Um, and it did escalate during the event. It got to a point where, I almost said, fuck these guys. Because every time I tried to do something to, help them or build them up or talk about business or anything, I kept on getting the cold shoulder. And I remember at a point we were sitting down in the stands, and I was the coach at the time, and I was like, all right, guys, we need to talk about, the strats. I think this was after our main stage. I was like, we needed to work on CTF. And John looked at me and he said something like, we know how to play, or it was to that point. And I almost blew up at him at that point. Constantly getting cold shouldered and constantly feeling like these kids that are new to the industry would look at me like, one, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm talking about. And then cold shouldering me after we've done so much for them really pissed me off. And we ended up having a little word about that. And then we ended up playing the next round, still hyping them. Right after that, they're like, man, we're cold. We really need to practice. Instantly, I got on the phone with one of the MLG guys that runs things. I was like, hey, we need to practice our team. We need to get a spot. Within 5 minutes of them asking me that question, we had opened off a closed section of the open bracket where they played on the side. We opened that up. They're actually trying to close it down, but MLG had opened it up for us. We got a scrim for them. And this was the kind of connections that we had. We know people. So we got all that done. Boom. We got them practice. They came into their next event. I think it was Icons Blue or Icons Black. I forget which one. But we won that game. And we were so hype and so loud during that matchup on the side that mainstream, Hastro and Fwiz and them, they're actually looking down at us. And they actually came down to see what all the hype was about. This was what HeXp was about, was the hype and the energy behind what we were doing. And the team loved it. The spectators came up and they loved it. I honestly want to give a big shout out to damn C-Box again. He was one of those community members that fell through the cracks. And he went out and said, hey, I think Tripp said something about, hey, we need water. He ran out, got some water for the guys. I mean, everybody was hyped up. And right after that, I had been stalking Golden Boy to get us an interview. And he pulled through and actually got ESN over there to interview us. So the guys were interviewed for the first time right there. And it was right before the next match, which was against Quantic, which I got to give a good shout out to them. We came down to the last map on that. Actually, not only the last map, but the last round. And they won that round. But that round or that matchup would have determined between 8th and 12th, and they pulled through. We were 2-0ing them, and they came back and won the last three maps. So it was a tough match, but the guys, I told them, I was like, man, don't look at it in a bad way. This is your first event. You've placed 12th. You've got so much hype. You've got an interview. Sponsors are going to want to start talking to us now, this and that. Um, so everybody was hype. Everything was good. Everything was, where it should be. Um, and there was a comment. We were walking back from the event, and I had mentioned to Street a couple times. I was like, things just don't feel right with the team. It looks like they're maybe trying to deal stuff on the side, or they want to see what happens after Dallas, see what offers come to them. It wasn't like that they were fully focused on HeXp Gaming. And my thoughts came true when I think it was Gucci. I think he was directing it at J Hill when he said this. He's like, "Yeah, I guess we need to start sketching at this now, huh?" And because he saw all the hype and everything that was going on, and he was kind of making it a point to be known that you really want to sketch on this. So it kind of brought out what my worst fears were, that things weren't quite where they should be with the team. Um, but nevertheless, I pinched down on him. I was like, listen, there's a lot of opportunity going on now, and I did start getting some offers from organizations and stuff. Um, at this time, we were getting back to Dallas. I was again concentrating on the pro team. Uh, I don't even know how to say them. Calevra or Calevara or however you say them. They actually contacted me and were looking to pay for the travel of the team. Um, Again, I could not talk to the team about this in detail because they still had not signed their non-disclosure agreements, and we didn't even have a contract signed. I couldn't talk details on the contract because they weren't signing their NDA. So almost 2 months passed, a month and a half after Dallas, and I finally got um, some NDA signed. Well, the thing was that $500 per event, he didn't. He was kind of sketchy now. It took a month and a half to get contracts or even NDAs. Um, we had actually pulled some strings. We knew basically the CEO of a major media corporation that owns a couple um, networks, and we had called him in the middle of the night. We need to watch some streams. Here's us on main stage. Here's the hype behind us, and he was interested. Um, how far that would have gone, I don't know. I can guarantee that it probably would have put HeXp in a very strong position as a dynasty team. When people see, Fear or Optic or Quantic, they know those names, and this probably would have put us on the map. We would have had everything paid for, I can guarantee. Everything from travel to expenses, hotels. So it was a big thing. Again, but he said, I will not do anything without a contract. And he actually probably would have wanted no less than a year contract. But the team would not talk contract with me. Probably because they were getting deals from other people and talking to other sponsors. I don't know. Uh, so we were on a rocky edge. These sponsors, potential sponsors, were waiting, constantly waiting. I'd constantly be on the team. I need paperwork. I need NDAs. I need contracts. Well, I don't want to sign a contract or this and that. That's not how things are done. Especially in the gaming industry, you need NDA. People talk. people putting money into you don't want you to talk, and it's just how it's done. So they dropped Jay Hill right after Columbus. That was that was probably one of the worst moves that the team made. Um, it was a double-edged sword for me. I was thinking on one hand, maybe I can get through to the team now, but I also understood how strong of a cement hold he had with the team and how he held the team together, and understood that their main thing was he didn't have enough time. He was working on that. I think if they threatened him bad enough, he would have changed his ways and he would have improved. Um, they were trying to get Clayster to take them to an event right after Dallas, if you remember. But the day Clayster was supposed to play with them, John had to work, and um, I don't know all the details, so I can't really talk on all of them. But it really ended up pissing Gucci and Chino and Tipsy off, and they dropped him because of that. And I think that was the downfall, serious downfall of the team right there. They tried a couple people out, it never worked. Their hard point kept on falling off, and eventually, with them not signing contracts, the team not doing as well, I had a meeting with them one day. They just the day of the meeting, or the day before, something like that, they actually dropped Chino as well, and I was like, you know what, it's over. Whatever, all of this hard work and all this that we had worked toward is over. Um, we were literally right on the edge of becoming something great. Um, I had pulled every major favor in that I could possibly think of that I knew to get these guys to where they needed to be. But the team would not put their faith in me, and as a result, I lost a lot of my clout with a lot of these individuals. They really didn't want to deal with me anymore. Um, they lost faith. I could probably get that faith back, but it's going to take something great again, and that's something really hard to find that we had in that team. Um, and honestly, with both the PC side of the community going down, um, the console team or console side going down, and now losing the pro team, I went into a state of depression. I've worked 3 years of doing nothing but this in my life. Every day that I woke up, I would be on the website working on it. When I went to work, I'd actually be doing HeXp stuff, contacting people, making contacts, working on the website. When I came home, it almost got to the point where I actually lost my relationship. My relationship almost failed. It got to that point, and for me to put everything into it, and then no one be there when it started falling down, and I came into a state of depression, and I shut the business down. I've really focused on just trying to, over the last few months, try to see, where did I go wrong? Why did I do these things, or what could I have done better? It was a big time of self-reflection, I guess you can call it. And during this time, I kind of rethought HeXp, and what should we do? Should I go get another pro team? Should I focus on community? Should I put all my effort into the people that are in the community? I mean, they weren't really there when I needed them. Why should I be there for them if they need me? A lot of thoughts came into my head. Where do we go from here? Where do we go from now? What do we do now? A lot of anger, regret, hatred, anxiety. I mean, every emotion you could possibly imagine went through me at that point in time. And until recently, I was in just a fuck it kind of mood. I kept the community going, to the bare minimums. I didn't work on the website. I didn't try to reach out for contacts. It was kind of pointless. Um, Everybody still had a bad taste in their mouth. Um, so I'm going to end the video right now as I speak about that. The next video is going to be, where do we go from here? What do I have planned for HeXp? Um, what kind of role do the community members and people involved in HeXp, kind of role do they have in the future? And some of the changes that we've made. I will say that I have started the business of HeXp back up. We are currently hiring staff if you want to be a staff member. Um, Multiple positions available in any type of work that you could possibly imagine. There are some changes in how we deal with the organization, how we hire and recruit. But the history of HeXp will continue with one more episode, and nice little double baron, Ayane. He's actually HeXp Ayane. He hasn't changed his name yet. He's from our PC side, so we doubled up on that baron. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or you want to point out anything that you were a part of this episode, please take the time to write a comment, like the video, share it out. And honestly, with the guys that are involved, the pro team, ex-pro team, I don't have any hard feelings on them. I still talk to Tipsy and Gucci, and they're great guys. Chino, he's grown into his own. So wish those guys luck. Actually, Kevla Gaming did pick them up. I don't know if that was something that they were talking to, behind the scenes, but they are now sponsored for them, and they're doing well as just us. So big shout out to those guys. But anyway, HeXp is starting a recovery, so look out. We do have a few teams coming to Columbus from the community. Nothing pro team status. Not I don't know. Dynasty might be a competitor, so watch out for them. But that's it for now. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and this is T-Man. Peace.